Welcome to the Can Wine Podcast, where we open cans of wine and talk about it. We're in Season 3, Episode 6, and our theme this year is to bring you the world in a can. And the piece of the world we're bringing you today is a little chunk of California in a can. But before we get into what our can of the week is, let's bring in our wine nerd word of the week, which is lees. And lees is essentially dead yeast cells. Our noble friends, the yeast that produce alcohol for us, they also produce flavor compounds and things like that. And there's two types of lees. Gross lees, which are the first ones that are typically removed by racking. Oh, and how did we get the lees? As the yeast gets strong, or the yeast eats up all of the sugar, that combined with the alcohol in wine, it kills the yeast cells off. Then the yeast floats down to the bottom. Now this stuff that floats down is called gross lees, and that's the big stuff that's taken out when they rack the wine. They move it from the initial fermentation into the containers that it's aged in, which could be stainless steel or it could be a barrel. And then the fine lees are the ones that are left behind. Well, who cares? Well, the thing is that this gives the wine certain textures as well as certain flavors that stay in the lees. So staying on the lees for a bit longer improves the complexity and the flavor of a wine. And as I had mentioned, or maybe I hadn't mentioned, we have some special guests as sort of a throwback to our episode last year when we did the Einsweiss Zero no alcohol Riesling. This is our first no alcohol episode of the season, and we have Jamie up in Canada. Are you there, Jamie?
Hi there. Yeah,
hey.
I'm here.
Would you like to introduce our can of the week?
Sure. That and saying sure, that's goes right along with the name of it here. It's called Shirley. It's an alcohol-removed wine. It's a non-alcoholic brut. It's made in California, and very, very curious and looking forward to opening this.
Yeah, that's great. And it's in a 250 milliliter can. Typically at this point we tell you what the alcohol content is, but this is zero. They take the alcohol out in a process that we'll tell you about later. And to be honest, I have actually had a few of these because they're quite delicious. So I don't want to steer you guys in that direction, but I think you'll be surprised. I did mention to keep it chilled and don't jump around, jump up, jump back, jump down, because this stuff is carbonated, so there could be some issues with that. And our other contributor isn't from Canada, but he's from the great state of Virginia and the town of Lynchburg, made famous because it's not Lynchburg, Tennessee. Are you there, Dean?
I'm here, Brad.
Hey, Dean. Dean is our literally our Dean of Dealcoholization. He's the guy we get to taste all of these non-alcoholic beverages, and he's very experienced with that. Now, this particular one is the winemaker is Jessica Smith, and she is the winemaker at Shirley Winemaking, Shirley Beverages, and they say that they use California grapes with a traditional fermentation, and then through the process of dealcoholization, they extract all the alcohol and get some of the flavor back through a process of molecular mixology, which is a fancy way of saying they use selected fruit products to bring it back. And I know, Dean, you're a bit of an expert, or as close as we have here, on the whole dealcoholization process. So how do they do that?
Shirley uses a spinning cone technique, and I would did a little deeper dive into that. It's quite a large machine, sometimes 30 feet tall, spinning cones inside. The wine is introduced, forms a very thin sheet, and first the aromatics and the flavor molecules are taken off and saved, and then after that the alcohol comes off and they save that also, and after that process is done, they add the flavor molecules back in, and you get a dealcoholized wine. They use vacuum, so there's no they can use a low temperature, and they don't bruise the wine by heating it to drive off the alcohol.
Yeah, that's great. And the Germans with that 1.0, they were using low pressure and low temperature. So they combine that with the spinning here that helps take it out. And we'll see how that impacts the wine. Now it's called a Brut, which is a the name Champagne can only be used for wines that are created in the Champagne region, if you will. It's an agricultural region of France, so they can't call this that, but it's in that style. So the things that you could expect is they're using California grapes. Typically, with Champagne, they use a Chardonnay grape. There may be some other grapes in there. I would expect this is a Chardonnay-based product. And they traditionally ferment it, so they make a good wine from it. Leave it on the lees. I don't think they'll age it in a barrel, although the pictures on their website did indicate that they did have some barrels to age it in. And that would give a smoky flavor, which I'm not sure you'd find on this. But where did I find this? Well, I found it at my local superfood town, which is a small, they say it's a mom and pop. I agree. It's not a, there's a half a dozen grocery stores like it. And it's in with their mixing agents like tonic waters and these sorts of things. So they're able to sell it. That's one of the advantages of NA products is you can sell them in a regular grocery store because they have no alcohol. The other thing is, because it's an NA product, most people don't realize this, but wines and alcohol products don't have to tell you what's in them. But this doesn't have any alcohol, so it does tell us that it has some dealcoholized wine, as well as a couple preservatives and some fruit extracts, just to bring the flavor back to what you would expect. So I guess at this point we should just do what we do here at the Can Wine Podcast and open this can of wine and talk about it. Are you guys up for that? Have you got your cans there?
Sure, you want to give us a countdown?
Yeah, just so for readers who can't see, and you guys are on telephone so they wouldn't be able to see you, right now Jamie is opening up his wine at a remote lake on an island in Canada. Like, we spare no expense at this show. We put people where they are. Just joking. James is up there doing what you do at this day, which is it's Canadian Thanksgiving, isn't it, Jamie?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's Canadian Thanksgiving, so I'm at the family cottage, and all the family's coming out here for the weekend for Canadian Thanksgiving and enjoy a great supper and shut the place down get it ready for winter, take the water out and all that stuff, and fill the wood box. And yeah, so I'm patiently waiting for the rest of the family to show up here for the weekend. And prior to that, I'm going to be trying some Shirley non-alcoholic Brut wine.
Perfect. That sounds great. Just give me 1 second here, and I'll get my can. Okay. I've got my can all ready here. And are you ready down in Lynchburg, Virginia, Dean?
I'm ready in Lynchburg.
Okay. You going to give us the countdown?
3, 2, 1, and open. Very nice perlage.
Yes.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, I did much better on this one than the the rosé that I opened in Central Park. Having hiked through the wilds of the duck pond there, I got to a nice spot to open it, and the thing went off like an old-time fire extinguisher. It was going everywhere. So, and that was fairly early in the morning, just because I happened to be there at that time, and it was pretty spectacular. But we were able to shoot some. So, yeah, this is it's very nice. As Dean said, it has a very nice perlage, which is a French word that relates to the bubbles. It was much better behaved this time than that last time. I smell lemon, but more so peach, if I could. It has a slight set of legs on it, but I think that's more from the sugar. One thing we didn't mention is this is a very low sugar product as well. What are we talking here? 25 calories in a can of this, so that's amazing, I say. And without alcohol, it doesn't add to the calories. What flavors are you getting in the nose or the taste there, guys? Dean?
It's very tasty. It's I would call it dry, and it leaves a nice tingle on the tongue after you've swallowed it. I'm definitely getting lemon.
Yeah.
And, for my taste, it's citrusy without being tart.
Jamie, what are you feeling?
Yeah, I agree. It's a dry wine. I like it. I certainly like it. It's good. It does have some sort of a citrus taste to it, like I'm not sure, a grapefruit or something. And I'm just looking on the can here. I see they actually put guava concentrate in that. It's been a while since I've had a guava, but I kind of detect that taste there.
Yeah.
Yes, I like the color. It's not too effervescent.
It's got I'd say a golden. Would you say it's a solid gold color?
Yeah, it's not quite as strong.
Yeah.
Like a Chardonnay. Now, pairing, some of the recommended pairings I came up with would be hard cheese, veggies. Maybe, I think this would be good with excellent with a chocolate croissant, I'm thinking of right now. Or a charcuterie tray. What would you recommend, Dean?
Yeah, I think that charcuterie would be good. It will cut. It'll kind of clean up the flavor of salami and pepperonis and prosciutto and things like that. It'd be a nice foil after those flavors.
Exactly. And what are you munching on tonight, Jamie? Could you have this with that?
We're looking at having an Alfredo chicken dish, but I think this, for me, I would like it with a really sharp cheese would be nice. Maybe some crackers. Nice sunny day to be enjoying it, that's for sure. It's,
yeah, or some smoked almonds or something lighter like that, some veggies.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, what was that?
I'd buy this again.
I've actually, to be honest, which we try to be here, I have a couple 4-packs that I just picked up because I was excited to be able to buy it at my local supermarket, and I quite enjoyed it. As you know, it's great with breakfast or something that you might want to enjoy. It would make a decent mimosa, I would think, if you didn't put too much orange juice in it. But as we're moving along here, which we do, our shout out today, it goes, there's a thank you to both Jamie and Dean for being, I'd have to say you're the best supporters and contributors that we've had here. Well, you're right on the top anyways for contributors, because we appreciate everybody that shows up, but You always give us great suggestions and enjoy the episodes. And to our shout out is to our Spotify listeners again. Guys, you got to get over to YouTube and see the whole experience. Some of it's just a can of wine sitting there while we talk, but you get to see it poured and you get the color and the whole 9 yards. So come and join us on YouTube. It's easy. You go to YouTube and you search, in quotation marks, The Canned Wine Podcast. It comes up every time. I think we've got almost half a dozen episodes there. We will after this one is, because this is episode 6. Our head scratcher, as we're wrapping up here. Last week, where did the winemaker Luca go to study winemaking? Well, he has a master's from La Faculté I've had too much of this wine. The Oenologie, these tough French words. The Faculté d'Oenologie de Thalès in France. So that answers our last week's head scratchers. And for this week, here's a little research project for you guys. What other products can be spin stabilized or spin distilled, I guess is the word. Spin distillation is used on other products more than just dealcoholizing wine. Look that up and we'll tell you that next week. Now in closing, which we have to do, although I think we may continue afterwards with a little bit of chit-chat on this. We'd like to thank you for tuning into the Canned Wine Podcast, whether you're on Spotify or now on YouTube. And we open cans of wine here and talk about it, sometimes with our friends, which we're doing today. Remember, as always, to enjoy responsibly, and maybe an NA product might be just the thing to do that with. And just because it comes in a can, well, this one you could actually drink it while you're driving, although I don't like to be distracted like that. But don't drink canned wine while you're driving. Be a responsible citizen. The Canned Wine Podcast is a Center Stage Productions, all rights reserved. And send us your comments. We'll send you some of our fancy swag, a canned wine podcast hat or a sticker or something along that line. So once again, thank you very much. And until next episode, enjoy responsibly.